Slimehouse TV, myself, Theo Kane, hold tight everybody that's locked in, the Slime Alliance, the Slime Renegades, and everybody else that's supporting. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk about 10 of the best things that I picked up in 2022. Now, this was a real hard list to whittle down because there was like 30, 40 things when I wrote them all down, like standout pieces that I'd picked up last year, because 2022 for me was one of my most productive vintage toy pickup years ever. I got so much stuff, given to me, so much stuff donated, so much stuff that I just found out and about, and I was really on the prowl because in 2022 I wanted to push my YouTube harder than ever, and that in turn put me in a lot of situations where I was around a lot of different toy buying opportunities. So in today's episode, without further ado, I'm going to show you 10 of my favourite things that I picked up in 2022. Let's do this. So right now, it's 2023. Happy New Year to everybody that's locked in. Last year was a year that like I said, I really tried to push the YouTube harder than ever. And that in turn put me in lots of situations where I was around a lot of different toy buying opportunities. And in turn made me pick up a lot more stuff for my collection. But not only that, I got lots of stuff donated to me. And it was just a real healthy year for vintage toy pickups. And because it was such a healthy year, I picked up so much stuff and it was hard to whittle it down to 10 things to talk about in today's video. So these are not like a top 10. It doesn't start with like number 10 and then end in like my best pickup of the year or anything like that. And also, this is a list that I've chosen that's pretty varied for a reason, because I know that people check my channel for all different reasons. Some people like the more newer stuff that I review, some people like the more vintage stuff, some people are purely here for the Warhammer videos that I put out now and again. So I wanted to keep it like nice and varied for all the different people. So whether you're into vintage toys or Sofubi or Warhammer or miniatures or anything like that, I tried to keep it so that there's something in this for everyone. So these are not all necessarily like my favorite pickups, because I picked up like 40 things when I wrote it down on paper that I wanted to talk about, but whittling it down to 10 nice varied things that were all real standout pieces that I picked up this year. So like I said, a real hard list to whittle down, but definitely one that I think that you're going to like. So without further ado, let's get into it. These are my best pickups that I picked up in 2022. Or maybe not my best pieces, but definitely 10 real highlighted standout pieces that I acquired for my collection that I want to talk about in today's episode. Let's do this. So kicking things off with this toy line that I've been picking up slowly for many years. It all started with a tin of random loose pieces that I found at a car boot years ago, and then got a bit more serious when I was in Tokyo and I found a couple of them boxed at a real nice price. And it's these things, Shonen Cyborg / Denny's Cyborg and Mutant, depending on whereabouts in the world you live. Now, these are a toy line that have got a real rich, deep history. You can go on a whole deep dive about where they came from. They come in two different sizes, the Shonen Cyborg, which are these smaller ones, and then the Henshin Cyborg, which use 12-inch G.I. Joe bodies. Personally, I prefer these smaller ones, and earlier in the year, my dad found a few that he had in storage and gave them to me. So I pieced them together with the parts that I already had, and then, courtesy of the Leicester Vintage Toy Shop, where we went out on that toy hunt, I was able to complete the 3 British release subform outfits for him as well. My friend Tobias then also sent me some carded stuff that he got from Tokyo to add to the collection as well. So all in all, it's been a real healthy year for my Shonen Cyborg collection. And it's a collection that I hope to grow more in the future. Maybe even eventually do a video on these boys, who knows. But really happy with how the collection's looking so far. I love those 70s tokusatsu Japanese superhero vibes. These things were very much like the Japanese Captain Action doll with all the different costumes for well-known superheroes that you could buy for them to kit them out in. And I'm always a sucker for transparent toys as well, so I've got so much love for this toy line, and they were definitely one of my main highlighted pickups of 2022. Next up is another toy that I acquired courtesy of my dad from his old collection, and it's a figure from the $6 Million Man line, Maskatron. Now, last year, my dad gave me all of his $6 Million Man figures, all boxed, all near mint, to a point that pretty much the only things that I'm missing now are the Fembot and the Bionic Bigfoot. So obviously, I was very overwhelmed with all of the collection overall, but the reason that this guy was such a standout piece for me personally is because I did have a complete one of these a few years ago, and I sold it to Ian from the Vintage Toy Monster, not because I didn't like it, but because at the time I was saving up money for a big Tokyo toy hunting trip, and I was pretty ruthless with my collection and selling big chunks of it it because I wanted to take a lot of money to Japan with me. Ian did give me a great price and I was happy to sell it him at the time because obviously when you're out in Japan you're going to see a lot of stuff that you're only going to see there in Tokyo, and to me this is a figure that I could always pick up again if I wanted to. But out of everything that I sold when I went to Japan, this is the one thing that I really regretted, and I thought a lot about it over the last few years, but every time I went on eBay to look for one they were always selling for a much higher price than what I was willing to pay for one. So when my dad gave me his $6 Million Man collection, this guy right here was the prize piece for me. Now I do eventually want to do a whole video on this line, so I'm not going to show all of them today, but I wanted to just shine a bit of light on Maskatron because in my opinion he's one of the dopest toys that was ever made. He's got interchangeable weapon arms, you can explode all of his body parts and then click him back together. He's got multiple faces that you can change, so you can remove his actual human face and disguise him as either Steve Austin or Oscar Goldman. You can store the faces in his back so that you can have him displayed with either his human face or with the exposed robotic circuit boards on them Yul Brynner Westworld vibes. So all in all, a fantastic addition to my collection and without a shadow of a doubt one of the top pickup highlights for me of 2022. So the next one on the list is something that you might recognise. I picked this one up down in London at ToyCon 2022 and it's the Mutant Megalodon by Sunguts. Now when I saw this thing stood there on the stand, I just couldn't resist it. I loved that it was like a big gnarly mutant megalodon shark with scarification and Maori tattoos carved into his fins and his back. Sunguts is Japanese, so I love that it's got that influence as well. It could very much look like a guy fighting in a suit in some old kaiju TV show or some old Toho movie. I didn't pick up too much Sofubi last year, and it was definitely a toss-up between this and the Tetsuo that I got from Unboxed Industries, but this was the thing that I picked up while I was at ToyCon, so to me it was definitely a standout piece that I got, and also nice to add a little bit of Sofubi into the list, because I know that some people just follow this page for the designer toys and the Sofubi stuff that I cover. Now, like most Sofubi, it's all independently made. You know that it costs a lot of money to create this stuff, so to some people this might not have seemed like it was a cheap purchase, but I thought I was getting a lot of bang for my buck. I was really happy with the price that I paid for this, and sometimes when you're paying a higher price for something, you can kind of regret the purchase. Like, as soon as you've made it, you're like, oh, why did I buy that? Why did I think that I needed this in my collection? But this was not one of them at all. There were no regrets with this purchase, and I'm so happy to have it in my collection, and that's why it was 100% one of my highlights of 2022 and had to make this list. Next up is something a lot more contemporary, something a lot cheaper to obtain, and it's the Warhammer 40,000 action figures by McFarlane. So you might think that with all the stuff that I picked up this year, these were an odd choice, but I'll tell you why I decided to add these to the list. It's so rare that I can actually go out into shops and pick up a toy that I want off the shelf. Very rare. Pretty much never happens. But when McFarlane released these, I really liked the look of them. And then in the last few months, they've really dropped down in price. You can get them off Amazon real cheap, and you can also find them for pennies in B&M bargains. So it's been really nice for me to go into a local discount store and buy something straight off the shelf because I never get that luxury. The stuff I collect is always rare or old or expensive, but being able to go into B&M bargains and pick one of these up off the shelf, and the fact that they're absolutely awesome, really made me want to add them to the list. So I originally got two of these. I got the Space Marine and I got a Tyrannid that's in storage, so I didn't take any pictures of it right here. But my friend Tobias bought me them as a thank you for working on a job with him. And since then I just fell in love with them. I even like that some of them are just all grey. These are sold encouraging you to paint them like you do with the Warhammer minis, but I really just like that solid grey colour. I feel like it really brings out the detail. They look really nice with lights on them when you want to do some photography, and overall just give that prototype feel, which I'm a big fan of. I'm definitely going to be picking some more of these up in 2023. They keep popping up in B&M bargains, so I'm going to keep going in and seeing if I can find any more. My favourite one is this though, the Chaos Space Marine. My mum got me this for my birthday, which is actually on the 4th of January, but she gave me this just towards the end of December, so it does count as a 2022 pickup. The Space Marine armour for me is up there with like the Mandalorian armour as one of the coolest armours that's ever been designed ever. And then adding these Rago bullhorns to the side of his helmet, this whipped cloth that's hanging around his waist, and then spikes on his shoulder blades and shit, skulls on his knee pads, just makes it even cooler. And this thing's currently like £20 on Amazon, so it's an absolute bargain. Not only that, but I've got such a lot of love for McFarlane figures. When I was a kid that was like growing out of action figures that you play with and getting more into toys that you display, I was big into Spawn toys. I like that they're always priced at a real nice affordable price point. And like I said, just so nice to be able to go out into the shops and pick something up that's high quality for my own collection because it's so rare. And that's why they made my 2022 pickups list. Now next up is one that you've probably seen before if you watched any Slimehouse episodes last year, and it's the M41A pulse rifle from Nerf. Now I never buy Nerf guns, not that I don't enjoy firing them, I enjoy shooting Nerf guns as much as the next guy, but I never buy them because they're really not my thing. I sometimes pick up vintage ones from like the early 90s and stuff like that, but because this one was themed from the Aliens movie, and it was a recreation of one of my favourite guns from film ever, I had to get this one. It was a no-brainer. There's also a bit of a story behind this one because I did originally pre-order it from Hasbro, and then while I was waiting for it to come, while I was waiting for my pre-order to go through because they said it was going to be 12 months, it started to randomly turn up in little independent toy shops. People got hold of them, people were selling them on eBay and stuff like that, so I cancelled my pre-order with Hasbro and I got it from Nerdbase. I was very happy when it arrived, I did a cool little review unboxing it, but the main reason that I really like this toy is that it gave me and my girl the opportunity to create a little cool impromptu movie in my back garden. So I was just going to line up some old Kenner aliens and shoot them off my wall, but then next minute I'm in full army gear, I'm rolling around in the garden, my girlfriend's filming me in slow motion, and then I'm editing it with speed racking and creating like a whole little movie for the end of the episode. So purely for that reason, I'm going to be adding this to my 2022 standout list of toys, and also this became quickly one of my most viewed videos of the year, so if you've not had a chance to go watch it, go back and binge that little episode as well, because it's one of them that I'm the most proud of. Even though it's really simple, I'm still very proud of that episode, so make sure you go back and check that one if you've not already. Next up is another one that you'll have seen before if you watched any Slimehouse episodes last year, and I don't want to turn this into like a best of Slimehouse 22, but there were so many cool things that I picked up last year that I had to include in this list, and this was definitely one of them. Also switching it up very differently to the stuff that we've been talking about so far, this one is the Horizon Forbidden West Tall Neck Lego playset. Now, very much like Nerf guns, Lego is not something that I actively go out and buy or anything like that. This is legit the first Lego playset that I bought in 30 years, but I just couldn't turn it down because I'm such a big fan of the Horizon Forbidden West and the Horizon Zero Dawn franchise. I love Aloy, I call her Bayloy, I love the aesthetic of this game. I love this game, so when I saw that Lego were releasing a tall neck playset, like I had to get involved with that. This was also one of my limited experiences with scalpers and that kind of thing. We had to go really early in the morning and queue up for this in hopes to get one. I know that you could get them a lot more easily after this had initially been released, but I wanted to get it when that first wave dropped. So not only did I get up really early and wait at the crack of dawn outside my local Smith store, my girl and my friend Malik also went to Meadow Hall, a big shopping centre, to the actual Lego shop and waited outside there in the queue as well. So just getting this thing was such an effort, and it felt a real good achievement, like proper toy hunting vibes when I'd finally got one. And then I got home and instantly started building it. I set up my camera in loads of different configurations and created another video that I'm so proud of. The end result is something that I absolutely love. I've got it displayed on my shelf, pride of place. And just the way that I filmed the episode and lit it and everything like that, again, just made it such a standout experience for me of 2022. I suppose some of these are less about the toy and more about the experience of me getting the toy and filming the toy. And this was definitely a prime example of that, and the reason that I've added it to this 2022 list right here. Next up is an awesome little 90s line from Hasbro called the Pirates of Darkwater. Now, I've always had a few of these, but I didn't actually complete the whole set in its entirety until last year. So I had all of these as a kid. I remember getting them for one of my birthdays and I played the shit out of them. And over the years they got missing and broke and lost and sold or whatever, so I only had a couple of them left over. And then at the start of last year, my dad found my old Pirates of Darkwater ship out of the attic, so I had pretty much a complete ship. It was just missing the sail, and then my friend Judd found me a busted up ship on eBay that had a sail intact, so I added that to the ship to make the ship complete. And then throughout the year I managed to pick up a lot of the little pieces and accessories I needed to complete the individual figures. Shouts to my friend P as well, because he sent me some of the pieces that I needed, and by the end of the year I'd completed the whole set, all complete, all looking bad boys. So I'm gonna do an awesome little video on these at some point, a real video essay like I did with the Mad Balls and the Robin Hood figures, so I don't want to focus on these too much, but just wanted to say that I really like this toy line and I'm so happy that I was able to complete it in its entirety this year, because it's one that I've had my eye on for a while, and knowing that some of these toys are my original childhood ones that are now mixed in with the newer ones that I've picked up, make it an awesome line to have displayed on my shelf, and I can't wait till later on in the year when I get to do a proper in-depth video on them. Another cool, awesome line that I've wanted to complete for a while, and in 2022 I finally managed to do it, was the Playmates Skeleton Warriors line. Now for me, these are the pinnacle of the Playmate sculpts when it comes to these skeleton guys. Not so much the humans, we'll talk about them when I do a proper video on them, but in terms of the skeletons, the sculpts are so perfect. They seemed like the natural progression from the Ninja Turtles and the Toxic Crusaders. The sculpts on them are so good, the ink washers work so well, they could almost be mistaken for McFarlane figures, which is interesting because they came out in 1994, the same year that the original wave of Spawn figures did. So all in all, they just reek of that gnarly 90s aesthetic, and I fucking love it. They're a little bit Warhammer and a little bit Harryhausen, but because they're made by Playmates and have firing spring-loaded missiles and stuff, they're also kids action figures. Earlier this year, I also did a video talking about toy lines that I thought were going to go up in value, and I wasn't wrong when it came to these because I've definitely seen them become more expensive in the last few months, so I'm really glad that I grabbed them when I did. Shouts to everybody that helped me complete them. Two of the figures are missing little pieces off the actual figure, which are very easy to replace. Like most Playmates figures, all the value for the most part is in the weapons and the accessories. And like I said about the Pirates of Darkwater, I don't want to concentrate on these too much today because I am going to do a big video essay on these at some point. Hopefully this year, hopefully 2023 will be the year that I can also do a dope video essay on the Skeleton Warriors as well. So finally, I couldn't end this list without talking about one thing from the Action Man line. Last year, my dad gave me so much of his old Action Man collection that I've now got such an archive of original Action Man, but my favourite Action Man piece of all time, without a doubt, is Captain Zargon. Now, I've had the Captain Zargon figure for many years. It's one of my favourite toys. It takes pride of place on my shelf. But it wasn't until last year that I finally got the box for the Captain Zargon, again courtesy of my dad from his old collection. The artwork on this box is honestly, hands down, my favourite artwork of all time. There's so many cool artworks on boxes over the years, there's so many that I love, but none of them come close to how much love I've got for the Captain Zargon box artwork. I'm not big into tattoos, I've got a couple, but if I was going to get another, something that I would always consider getting is the face of Captain Zargon from this box art. Who knows, that might be something else that you see in 2023, me getting Captain Zargon's face tattooed on me. When I was growing up and my dad was hardcore into Action Man collecting, a lot of the collectors didn't even fucks with these old 80s toys. They saw them as a lot more modern because this was like in the early 90s. They didn't really consider them vintage, but all these years later, these are now some of the most sought after Action Man that you can come across. And there's so many cool things that were released around this time, and if you've been watching any of my video essays that I dropped over the last few months, you'll know how much I love Action Man. But this is by far, out of all of that stuff, my favourite piece. Like I said, I've had the Captain Zargon for many years, but 2022 was the year that I finally acquired a box for him. I've been wanting one for such a long time, so to finally get one was awesome, and that's why I wanted to feature this as the final awesome pickup that I got of 2022, because I think out of all of them, this is the one that means the most to me. So what do you reckon to that? What do you reckon to my 10 standout pieces from 2022? Do you think I had a nice mix in there, a nice variation? Is there anything that you've seen me pick up over the last year that you think I should have mentioned in this video? Let me know in the comments below. There was also lots of stuff in this that I wanted to add. Like I said, I had like 40 different standout pieces that I picked up this year, and also stuff that wasn't even toy related, just cool retro vintage things that I wanted to talk about in this as well, but I wanted to keep this one specifically toy themed. There was also lots of stuff that I've picked up that I wanted to kind of talk about in this video, but then also I didn't want to show them yet because I'm waiting to like collect the rest of the pieces for that collection before I showcase them properly on this channel as well. There's also stuff as well like the Resident Evil figures that I didn't show, which I would have really liked to, but I'm doing a big video on them coming up soon anyway, so I thought I'll save them for their own video. But like I said, a very, very healthy year for toy collecting, and I really want to make 2023 a healthy year for toy collecting as well. I want to get out to a lot more toy shows. I feel like I've neglected toy shows a lot in 2022 because I'm always busy doing stuff, and some of them are far away and things like that, but I feel that it's real good content for the channel. You people that watch this show seem to really enjoy when I do the toy hunt pickup videos and things, so I really want to get to more of them this year. And there's also lots of other toy lines as well that, like I said, I've not got complete yet, so I'm looking for little bits and pieces to put them into that toy line before I want to showcase them in their entirety. But I really hope you've enjoyed this video and think that I had a nice good variation and that there was kind of something for everyone in there, from modern toys to vintage toys to designer toys, and then a little bit of Warhammer mixed in there as well. I really do hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that supported me last year. I made it my mission at the start of 2022 that I was going to upload regularly every single week, drop like 2-3 videos every single week, and for the most part I've stuck to that. There's never been a week go by where there isn't a video in production and one already dropping on the channel as well, and I've definitely seen growth. I haven't seen like huge growth. I've not gone up to 20k followers in a few months or anything like that because that's not realistic. What I cover here is very niche. It's very like very much a subgenre of toy collecting in general anyway, and toy collecting on YouTube is not only very oversaturated, but it's also something that's very niche as well, especially the stuff that I'm into and the people that's into that watch this channel as well. So I'm very happy with the growth this year, and I'm definitely confident that this year I can hit that 10k. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like if you did enjoy it today. And like I said, let me know down in the comments below what your favorite piece was that I showcased in this video, and if there's any that you saw me pick up this year that I didn't feature in this video that you think that I should have. If this is your first time checking out Slimehouse TV, then I'm Theo Kane. We do videos like this every single Tuesday, and I've got a wicked toy community here. So if you're a person that likes to collect toys and wants to talk about them with other cool people that enjoy the same thing as you, then welcome to Slimehouse. You're more than welcome here. There's so many cool people like you here on this channel that discuss down below in the comments every single Tuesday. So please get involved. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and what's your plastic crack toy addiction. What do you collect? What's your poison? One of the biggest things you can do as well to support this channel is join the Patreon. Become a Slime Alliance member or a Slime Renegade. That money all goes back into Slimehouse and helps me make these videos regular and keeps this channel going and makes it bigger and better than ever. Also, if you want to hit me up but you don't want to comment publicly down in the comments below, the best place to do that is over on Instagram at Theo_Kane_Slimehouse. That's the social media that I'm the most active on, and it's the best place to get in touch with me if you want to drop me a direct message. In the meantime, I really do hope you've enjoyed this video, and not just this one. I really hope you've enjoyed all the stuff that I've been dropping over the last year, and I hope you're going to stick with me for 2023 because I've got some awesome stuff planned, and I can't wait to show you what we're going to be dropping on the channel this year. It's going to be fucking awesome. Anyway, I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, and I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, I'm gone. Pow!